It will help you to learn how to use our new workbook tool for lighting projects. So far, I have gone through and I've verified the account, and we're going to take you to the portal first to show you how to begin and what information you'll need to know. So you can download the workbook from either your dashboard, which will be getting an update, or you can go to new online application. So we're going to go there, and you'll need to verify your account. So you'll need to make sure that you have the correct information from your customer to input that information and validate. Okay, now we're on the portal, and we're going to put in the information that it's asking for, whatever is pertinent to your project. And okay, so you're going to say that is a lighting project. So just a note that, please download a new workbook with every project, and then you're going to save it with a name that's meaningful to you, so that way you can find it again. So that could be the name of your project. And we want to make sure that you have the most recent workbook to make sure all the incentives are calculating properly. Okay, you should find that in your download. So I'm going to open mine. While we're waiting for that, please note that you'll need these 4 inputs from your workbook. So the total estimated incentive dollars, total estimated KW saved, total estimated KWH saved, and total estimated therm saved. Those are all going to come from your workbook, either in the grand totals or the measure summary, which I will show you later on in the video. So now that you have your workbook downloaded, you'll need to enable editing before you can do anything else. So now that we've enabled the editing, you'll see that this workbook is for both midstream and for prescriptive programs. And so to get started, you'll have to click in the orange box and select from the drop down which project type you're going to be using. So if you're in the prescriptive program, you'll select that, of course. Otherwise, for distributors only, you would do midstream, and it will remind you of that as you select. I'm going to do prescriptive to start. So the building size, the building type, and the space conditioning type will all need to be selected before it will give you specific selections based on what you've chosen. So building size can only be large or small. And based on the size of the building types will populate based on the size. Some are specific to large and some are specific to small. And please note that some of the building types have changed. There has been updates, and that way you can select the one that is most beneficial for your project. I'm going to select big box, and primarily we've seen electrical and gas heat, but be sure to choose the selection that is appropriate for your building. There are some that don't have electric cooling and they have other options, so please be mindful of that. And now that we've made those selections, we're going to go to enter lighting measure details. And you'll notice over here, it'll tell you enter new measure by completing the fields. Once I start inputting, so I'm in a big box store, so I'm going to go to the bakery. Now you can see, now that I've started filling in fields, all the orange fields need to be filled in, and a message here will tell you if you have completed everything. And if it's still red, you're not done. So if it's green, you'll know it's completed and you'll see your incentive amount. So let's go in, and we're going to also select our lighting location. This also will populate based on the type of building, the building type that you've selected. So since we're in the bakery, we know that's interior. And I'm going to choose I'm choosing things by random, just so way you're going to select what's appropriate for your project. And when you go to the category, you're going to use the incentive guide. There is a link here, so that way you can have it for Your incentive guide is it's just for quick reference. That's what I'm trying to say. So your category you're going to choose based on the selection you need from the incentive guide. We're going to put troffers in the bakery. So we're going to use 1x4s, and there's no subcategory for the 1x4, so you would go forward. And of course, you need your watts per unit. So your watts and your lumens you're going to get from either the DLC or the Energy Star website. So make sure you have those listings handy. We're going to say it's a 20-watt unit. Because again, I'm choosing random information. I'm not actually using specifics at the moment. We don't recommend any particular type of product, so I'm going to do things at random. And you will use what you need to do according to your project. So replacement type. Either early retirement means the product was still working and is replaced, or replaced on burnout was it was no longer working and when you replaced it. Most times we've seen early retirement. Not many places wait until a product burns out before they actually make that change, but that will be dependent on your project. And since we're putting in test information at random, you're going to put the manufacturer, the model number, and the product ID as listed on either your DLC or Energy Star listing. So I'm going to put manufacturer, model number, and product ID since I'm not using specifics. And the total equipment costs and total labor costs, those are going to come from the invoice that you are charging to your customer. So my invoice says $1,000 for each of the total equipment costs and the labor costs. And these costs are for the total amount of the pieces of equipment in this line item. I'm only using one product in this line item. So you would use the appropriate cost and for both equipment and labor for your product. Mine are very expensive. Now we're going to do the existing lighting equipment. For a troffer, that may be different depending on what you are doing. And there have been some updates to the existing lighting drop downs as well. So for instance, we'll say that we have a fluorescent 4-foot. And for the category and for the description, when you look in here, I'm going to actually bring this away from the screen for a moment because there are some codes here that you may need to know. So they can be found on the nationalgridus.com site, but you can also find them in the workbook how-to document that we've created. And we will have that posted on the website. But these are the codes that you'll need, and those are what's listed in the drop down, just for reference. And when you're looking in the descriptions, the number of lamps will come first and then the length of the product itself. So since we said we were using a 1x4, we're going to do 1 lamp by 4 foot. We're only using 1 fixture, and that completes this line item. So this has an incentive of $50 as noted over here with the incentive, and the unit of incentive is by fixture. So now we're going to do another line item just to give a little bit of an idea of other products that are available. So we're going to do the building exterior. And actually, we're going to indicate that it's in the front. The installed location is very helpful for when our inspectors need to go to the property and locate where the products are that are being inspected. In the past, we've seen the address of the building, which is helpful, but we need to know where at that address the install is located to make the most efficient use of time for our inspectors. So in this case, we're discussing the building exterior front. So now when we go to the lighting location, you would select outside or outdoor area. Since it's the building exterior front, we're assuming that these products are attached to the building and not in a parking garage. So the category we're going to use exterior luminaires according to the incentive guide. And the description, we're going to use outdoor polar mounted area and roadway luminaires. And this one, you do need a subcategory since it's indicated by lumens. So my product, I'm going to say it's between 20,000 and 29,999 lumens. And in this case, I'm going to choose some wattages. I'm going to say there's 10 outside my building. But it still says I have more information to complete. So let's go complete that. And you do need to make sure that your lumens is within that range. So, oh no, it doesn't match. So it'll give you this error if it doesn't match. So we're going to put one that does match. Ta-da. And so we're going to do early retirement. And for these, I'm actually going to copy them because again, I'm not promoting any specific brand. So we're just going to use random information. And this is also just a way for you to know that if you do have things you need to copy and paste, you can do so. And now we're going to go to the category for outdoor lighting, where they're all in the same drop down, but we need to select what was there previously for our outdoor lighting. Could be a metal halide, and we'll give it a 400, but we said there's 10 of them. So you do need to make sure that the number of fixtures indicated there matches the number of fixtures or controls that are going to be installed. And as you'll see, we've completed this line item as well. So this one will be capped because I didn't charge, I went by the amount that's on my invoice. Where is my, here we go. So if this amount is correct and I only charged $1,000 for equipment, I only charged $1,000 for labor, so I can only get a $2,000 incentive for this line item. It will be capped at project cost. And we're going to do one more line item, also with the building exterior front. And we are going to, it's still the outside outdoor area, but this time we're going to put some controls on those lights. Sometimes you don't want the lights on all the time. And to help save electricity, you can certainly do that. And so we're going to use the network lighting controls at the fixture level. And that just means that it's going to be on each specific lighting fixture. And again, we need to know what is the wattage that's being controlled. So you're going to reference the wattage of this particular product since this is the network lighting controls are for those products. So we said it was 250 watts, so over 150 watts. And so again, the watts, you're going to put, you want to make sure that it matches since it's the same product. We had 10 of them, and there's one fixture per control, one control per fixture. And we also, the lumens, you want to, it's helpful to us when you put the correct lumens in there. In case you have more than one line item, we can match them up easily for you. And chances are, if you have lighting controls, they probably needed to be switched out and didn't actually burn out. So now we're going to look and see which control type do we need to put in. So for this particular drop down, there's only one option, but what you really need is this drop down over here to let us know which type of control are you installing. So in this case, we're going to use an, let's see, which one do I think this one would be dual occupancy and daylight sensors because they are outside. So you wouldn't really use occupancy outside. So, yes. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to use daylight dimming because we're not going to use occupancy outside. You don't usually occupy the outside. Usually you'll use that for a room. Okay, so we're going to copy those, but let's see. The Okay, so we are putting in we're looking at our invoice and we're putting in the amounts. Now we need to put in what type of fixture is controlled. So what you'll need to know from here, you're going to grab the same information that you used from these categories, from the category, description, and subcategory that is being controlled. Since these two line items go together, we're going to go do that now. So category was exterior luminaire. The description, outdoor polar mounted area and roadway luminaire. Subcategory, 20,000 and up. So now we see that all of our measures are green. It means we completed everything. And to fill out the portal, you can either use these grand totals here, or you can go to the measure summary and grab the totals from here. So you have two options. So actually, let me go back to the enter measure detail. I just want to give one example. So let's see, we'll do front produce. So that would be interior, but also noting that we'll do linear ambient. So for linear ambient, that does not have a subcategory, but notice how it says complete highlighted fields. So if I go to measure summary, it's not going to list that because it's not a complete line item and it is not giving you an incentive. So just something to be aware of, that you do need to have only completed line items will show up in your incentive. And you can also see if you come over to the grand totals, there's nothing here because it's not calculating. Thank you for joining us today for our workbook overview. And if you should have any questions, you can certainly contact Energy Save New Jersey at trccompanies.com, or you can check the website for the phone number as well. So thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.